Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on the channel today we have actress and producer. She produced the film The Sixth Friend. It is a indie horror film. She starred as Melissa White. She also had guest starring roles on hit TV shows such as Modern Family, Suspense, and Mob City. Today we have with us actress Chantelle Albers. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. When I was told about you, I was like, who is she? I don't know who that is, you know?
Glad to
Appreciate that.
be here.
I guess my first question would be, how did you get into acting?
Well, I started acting when I was a kid. I was about 7 years old, and it was kind of something that I just always wanted to do. I just always had this desire to act and be on stage. And coming from the Midwest, there wasn't much of a film community there, but there was a theater community. And so I got involved in theater and started doing that when I was probably in my youth. I would say I was around 7 when I had my first audition, and I booked it. And I remember I was a musical thing, and I sang The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow from Annie Get Your Gun. And I was 7 and I booked it, and it was really exciting. That was kind of the start of everything. It was this musical group called Kids on Broadway where we would sing and we would dance at local events and on the news and the radio and stuff. And that was kind of my first taste of performing. And what got me into that is I remember being in the hospital with a really bad head injury, and I remember waking up from a coma, and there was a commercial. I think it was like a McDonald's commercial that was on, which is funny because I'm a vegetarian now, but at the time there was a McDonald's commercial on, and I just remember sitting there and thinking, God, I really want to do that. And a few years later, I was, begging my parents to take me to auditions, and kind of went from there. And ended up going to school. I have a degree in theater performance, and then I moved to Los Angeles to pursue film.
Now, of course, I don't mean to pry into your personal life, but what is it like being a vegetarian, if I can ask? Is that like, do you ever get tempted to eat meat? If I can
Well,
ask that question.
yeah, not really. I don't really have a desire to eat meat. I just for me personally, I feel like I digest things a lot better when I don't eat meat. And also it just I don't know, it's kind of I had a friend Courtney Palm, and she's a big vegan, and she is an actress as well. You probably saw her in Zombievers and Silent Night.
Hmm.
Uh she did Death House also with the big horror genre that was out. Um, and she kind of opened my eyes a little bit to, I don't know, I guess the killing part of the meat process and just what the animals go through. And I don't know, when you get that kind of a visual, it kind of turns you off a little bit. And I guess I just started kind of seeing meat as being kind of fleshy, and just, I don't know, it just kind of got to be a mental thing for me where I didn't really want to eat it anymore. And
Okay,
I
well,
feel like I feel better too by not eating it.
I'm definitely glad that I don't have that same vision because I have to have meat. No offense, but I have to have it. You know, I
Yeah.
need meat in my life. But
Oh, I have too. I used to eat meat, so
my next
yeah.
question is that this film that you're in, it reunites you with your former co-star Dominique Swain. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, yeah, Dominique.
Yeah, she plays Heather. What was it like getting back together with her for this film?
Well, Dominique is a lot of fun to work with on set, and she really brings a lot to the character. I remember when we were filming, she would just have all these great ideas, and she's always down to play, and she's a really creative person, and she's got a great sense of humor. So she brought a lot of life and humor to the set, and I think that shows through in her work too. She's got a lot of the comedic relief, so people like to laugh, and she makes them laugh. So I think that's a good quality to have.
Well, I certainly thought it was good. I can't give away too much, obviously. And does it have an official release date or?
Oh, it's been out. It came
Okay,
out in
it's been
January.
okay.
It got
So
a theatrical, yeah, it got a theatrical release in January, and
okay.
It's currently on VOD on iTunes, Amazon, Fandango, Google Play, all the VOD platforms.
Okay,
So
so
it's available for rental.
is there like a link that I could put in the description box with this so that the people, my fans, can see this? Is there a link I can use or?
Yeah, the link on iTunes. You could
Okay,
go. It's on iTunes and Amazon, so all of those streaming or all of those rental platforms just can get one of those links and put it in there. Yeah.
okay,
Or I can send it to you too. I can look it up and send it to you.
I definitely will do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. And you just seem so friendly. I tweeted you, and that was me that messaged you on Facebook. I was inquiring about the interview.
Oh yeah.
Who's this strange guy? But that was me.
Oh, I don't think I saw the message yet. I'm so bad at checking my Facebook messages.
Yeah, that was just me trying to inquire about certain things with the interview. So
Yeah.
now you know, because I was like, I hope I don't scare her.
Oh no, I didn't even see it. I haven't checked my messages in quite a while. I need to get better about that.
My next question would be, what's the scariest film you've ever seen?
Oh, one film that really scared me was The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
I love that movie.
I love that movie. I still to this day, I think that is so amazingly, it's like brilliantly terrifying. That part where her and her boyfriend are in her dorm room and her boyfriend wakes up and she's on the floor in like this weird, like possessed sort of position on the floor, and there's no music, nothing. That vision was just terrifying, and I love how they did it without music. It was so powerful.
How long has it been since you saw the film?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of years.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it since 2005. So I was going to ask you, is that the same?
Oh, I've seen it since then, yeah.
Yeah, is that the same one where she's possessed and she starts counting? She's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Isn't
that
really
scary?
That is just really scary,
See, I get so scared of paranormal and like possession type horror movies. The slasher movies don't scare me as much. They make me jump, and it makes me like want to cover my eyes from the gore and everything. But I also feel that, I don't know, the demonic ones are really a lot more scary just because it's unknown. You can't see it. It's just a little bit more mysterious, I think, because it's an external force that you can't see.
Yeah,
whereas
and
in a slasher film, you just run.
I have to ask you, even though this is, it has nothing to do with this particular subject, but I'm just curious. Have you ever seen the film Halloween?
Yeah, Michael Myers.
Yeah. I was just curious because I was saying to myself, I don't trust anybody that doesn't know who Michael Myers is. So that's
right. You gotta know who Michael Myers is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My next question is, as an actress, is there any role that you wouldn't play, and if so, what is it?
You know what? I'm almost, there is a thing that I have where I wouldn't want to play anyone possessed. Okay. I don't think I'd want to do that. I don't know. It's just something where I feel like I don't want to put myself in danger, and it's kind of a touchy thing where I don't want to open up any doors or open up that realm at all. And I think I am spiritual, so I think there is something to that, and I just kind of want to stay away from that. I watch them. I enjoy watching them, but I don't think I would want to, and I would probably be in one, like in a paranormal horror, but I don't think I'd want to play anyone possessed.
Yeah, I guess
I don't want to actually get possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And next I want to ask you, this film, I don't know if I should even say this because it's kind of a spoiler, but I'll ask anyway. This film deals with the subject of rape. So as a woman, did that make you uncomfortable?
Well, it was something that we wanted to add to this story to make it a little bit scarier and to create that conflict. So, I wouldn't say it made me uncomfortable, even though it's a very, a very real and very awful and touching subject to bring up in a movie or film or script at all. But it was something that we felt would move the story along, and it kind of tied in as to it kind of justified the reason why these girls committed the murder in the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of creates them as more of a protagonist, I guess you could say, that it since it was self-defense. Um, so
It says here that you've starred in other horror films, including Condemned, Axeman, Turquoise, and Uncut. Is that correct? Am I reading this correct?
yeah,
So
yeah, and I have another movie called Reawakened coming out, and
okay,
that one actually does deal with a possessed girl, but I play a detective in it, not the possessed girl. So,
okay,
so
that's
I was
good.
down to take the role.
So why did you choose horror, or did horror choose you? How does that work?
Well, horror kind of chose me, and it's not something that I want to like strictly do because I love comedy too, and I actually do a lot of comedy. So horror, it's just a genre of mine that I love, but it's not one that I stick with full time. I just happen to have done a lot of horror films, but I really enjoy other genres as well, and I want to explore all avenues. Just as an actor, I want to be able to play all kinds of roles and not stick with just one.
Well, because I was saying to myself when I knew I was going to do this interview, I was saying, I hope she makes it big, and I hope.
Oh, thank you.
No, I really mean that. I was like, I hope she makes it because she seems really nice. I was nervous as hell when I got the message from your publicist. I was like, uh-oh, because I,
Oh,
I didn't know if we were gonna hit it off or. So
yeah. Well,
like
thank
she
you.
doesn't know anything about me. She doesn't know anything about my YouTube channel. Because most of the people that I've had on, they know who I am. I kind of have a notorious reputation. I'm just gonna be honest.
What's your reputation?
Oh, I don't know if I should say it here. I'm very infamous for speaking my mind, if you know what I mean. I say things and sometimes I put my foot in my mouth.
I've done that. I think I did that last night at an Oscar party. Oh well.
So
Just
yeah,
kidding.
I was saying to myself, I don't know if she's gonna like me. Is this thing gonna work? And I'm happy to see that we seem to be hitting it off quite well. So thank you very much
Yeah.
for giving me a chance.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Oh well. Well, thanks for having me. You've said a lot of kind things too, so thank you.
My next question would be, what did you like about the script that convinced you to be a part of this film?
Oh, are those the New Jersey sirens? Yeah, we get those in LA all the time, fire trucks constantly. Um, One of the things that really attracted me to the script of The Sixth Friend is showing how females could be empowered, and it showed females in a strong light. So it's very, girl driven and very girl heavy. And I liked the fact that it was strong women and they weren't waiting necessarily for a man to save them. They were more about bonding together and using their relationship
Yeah,
to save themselves. We really wanted to play upon the closeness of the girls, which is kind of why the first kill doesn't happen right away. Like we've got the LSD trip and then
hmm,
the murder of the man and Tyler in the beginning. But then as it moves on, we just kind of explore these girls and what they've been doing for the last 5 years after this trauma and their relationship where it was, where it's grown to, their circumstances now. And we wanted to add that in there so that it wouldn't be quite so gory in the horror genre. We wanted to keep it a little bit more clean about the chase, about the relationships, because to me that's scary too. And we love there is a little bit of gore in there, and we all love the gore genre too, but that was just not what we were going for with this film. We did want to make it female driven and just a little cleaner on the blood and make it more relationship chase wise, which I think is scary. That's what I find about scary, or that's what I think is scary in the exorcism of Emily Rose. It's like, oh my god, what's going to happen to her? You can't just run away from a killer. You've got to figure it out. And
And
and learn how to save yourself.
how long have you been an actress?
Well, like I said, I started off doing acting when I was about 7 years old, doing
Oh,
theater, and then I moved to LA in 2009 to pursue film. So I have a degree in theater. I have a BFA in theater performance, and then I moved to Los Angeles after getting my degree in theater. I went to go pursue film. So,
sounds very interesting. I've always wanted to visit Los Angeles.
oh yeah, it's a fun town. There's always lots to do, lots of entertainment and lots of busy things going on.
So my next question would be, what is your favorite movie genre?
Oh, my favorite movie genre. Gosh, can I get a top three? It's so hard to pick just one because, like I said, I do love horror, but I love comedy too. I really love comedy. Um, I like a lot of kind of dark, intellectual comedy. Like Arrested Development was a really fun show that I really loved. I really liked Happy Endings. I don't know if you saw that TV show. Um,
I don't believe I have. Is it good?
It is really good. It's funny and it's witty and it's kind of dark too, which I like. So, I like 30 Rock too. That was really great. That's kind of the humor, comedic side that I tend to go for. So, I like dramas too. One of my favorite drama films that I've mentioned in interviews before is Panic in Needle Park, and that was Al Pacino, one of his first films that he did before The Godfather, and it deals with heroin addiction and how there's a certain time of the year where the heroin in New York City runs low. It takes place in the late 60s, and so everybody that lives in Needle Park, which is where all the heroin activity is going on, they they start to freak out because the heroin goes low, and so that's why it's called Panic in Needle Park. And it kind of deals with everybody ratting on each other from the police. Everybody steals and kills, and it it's a very symbolic film, I feel, about addiction and need and desperation. And in the end, Al Pacino's character, he was thrown in jail because his girlfriend ratted him out. And when he gets out of jail, it's this last shot where there she is waiting for him outside of the prison, and he just looks at her and walks on by, and there's like this ending shot of her mirroring him behind him, and it sort of, to me, just spoke to how you can be addicted to more than one thing. They're sort of addicted to love and addicted to each other with or without the drugs. So I don't know. I thought it was really very dark and moving and very groundbreaking for the time too. It was a very graphic film, especially for the 60s. It was like no smoke and mirrors. They showed everything on camera. So I thought that
I
was kind of
I've
interesting.
never, I don't think I've ever heard of that film, and I'm not saying I'm a diehard Al Pacino fan, but I've heard of most of his movies, but not this one in particular. You know?
Yeah, I think this is the one. I don't quote me on this, but I think someone told me this was the movie that got him that got him the attention to do The Godfather. I think somebody saw him in that movie, and that's how he got the audition or got to be down to the top three for The Godfather
That's very
movie. So
interesting.
yeah, it's one that he did right. It's one he did right before. It was like a year or two before. So
And before I
yeah.
ask my next question, I just want to say that I've always wanted to have a female guest because I've had like 5 or 6 male guests, and I said, you know what, it's time for a female. And I've tried to get several of them, and it did not work out. And I have to say, and I honestly mean this, I'm glad you were the first.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to be the first as well.
I'm
Thanks
really
for having me. This has been so sweet. You make me feel so good.
Thank you so much. And my next question is, well, it's more of a statement and then a question, I should say. As we pointed out earlier, I read that you had roles on these TV shows like Modern Family and Suspense and Mob City. Are there any major differences between film and television?
There is a little bit of a different style, I would say. Just even from going from comedy to horror, I always think there's a lot of comedy in the horror genre, but it's just a different style. So it's not as much of a difference as going from theater to film. That's even more of a different style. But there is a similarity to it. Yes, I feel like being in TV versus film, TV might be a little bit faster paced than
Mm.
film. Film, I think, is a little bit, even in the edit and even in the way you play the scene, I feel like it might be just a tad um longer, and then TV might be a little bit shorter. And I think that might the or I credit that to TV having to be 30 minutes, like a 30-minute episode, versus a film that's a comedy and it's an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that because TV that's something that is much shorter. Like for instance, you have weekly episodes and they have to work at a faster pace. So I don't know. I guess I should
Yeah.
have thought of that. But
TV's fun though. I love being on my toes and going to town. I did a play once at my theater company in Hollywood here at Theater of Note, where I was the understudy, or they asked me to be the understudy for this play that I hadn't auditioned for it, but they needed someone. And sure enough, the night before, they're like, "We need you tomorrow night." So I had to memorize the whole play. And I mean, I had memorized it a few days before, but then they brought me in and we did one run through. And then the next night you go up. And I kind of felt like that was one of the better performances I gave, because we were just so organic and in the moment and just living and just, all right, let's do it. Let's go. You're not overthinking it. So in a way, it's kind of a blessing, not having to rehearse it too much. Just you've got to be in that right mindset though, like, all right, let's get ready to play and be off book and just go.
well, like I said, it seems really interesting. I don't know if I could be an actor because I'm not good at pretending. I can't do the pretending thing. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I might look into it later, but as of right now, I'm happy to be just doing this thing on YouTube. So that's gonna
Yeah.
have to be good enough for me. I don't have too much more written down here. I have one last question, and it's uh, if you could be in one of the mainstream horror franchises, like I don't know, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw, uh, which one would you like to try out just one time?
Well, maybe, I was a big fan of Scream. I thought Scream would
Okay,
have been
see,
a
I didn't
lot of
even
fun to
mention
be
that
in.
one.
Yeah.
That's
Or that, or
that's
The
a good one.
Conjuring. But like I said, The Conjuring does deal with that possession, so I wouldn't want to be the possessed person. But
Yeah.
I would love to be part of one of those two franchises. They were great. Those are two of my favorite horror films franchises that I can think of off the top of my head that I really enjoyed, and I thought they were really groundbreaking too.
Have you ever had any scary experiences as an actress? Like, I don't know, maybe uh I don't want to say crazy because you got to be politically correct. So
Yeah.
I'll say an unstable fan. Have you ever had an unstable fan?
Yes, I have.
Wow. And how did you deal with it? If you don't mind sharing.
Well, at first I tried to be polite and nice and um, you know, kind of willing to share it with them and speak with them, but after a while it got to be a little much, and so you just kind of try to wean yourself off a little bit, but then when they don't want to go away, it can get kind of tricky too. So you
Yeah.
just try to, you know, try to be polite to everyone, because you never know where everyone is coming from.
And see, that's now you see where I'm coming from because that's what I was going through when I was trying to do this inquiry. I was like, she's
Yeah.
think I'm crazy as hell. Like,
No.
so I'm glad we got to straighten this whole thing out, because I really did not want you to get the wrong idea. So I really appreciate having you here. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you would like to say about the film or any upcoming projects that you may have or
Yeah, well, be sure you guys go and check out The Sixth Friend. It's on VOD on iTunes, Amazon, Fandango, Google Play. It's Vudu, like all of the VOD platforms for rental. It was just released in Europe this month as well, so all of your European fans can rent it, and it's going to go worldwide later this year. And I have another film called The Desert, which is a drama. It's a sci-fi drama, actually, that was based on melodramas of the 1950s, and it was produced by the creators of NBC's Grimm, and their son Ben Bigelow directed it, and it's a really cool film. It played at the London Film Festival and then at the London Film Festival, and it's going to be playing in LA and New York here, and it's going to be released to the public on I think I got to check the date, but it's going to be released to the public this month. So that's called The Desert. You guys can Google that. And I also have Reawakened, which is a horror film coming out later this year. And be sure to look out for that one because I think that one might be getting a limited theatrical release as well. So that one deals with a girl who has a demonic possession, and there's all these murders going around in town. And so I play a detective who's investigating these murders that are happening by supernatural forces. So,
Well, again, I want to thank you for being here, and I guess you coming on here was favor enough, but I do have one more favor to ask.
yeah.
And it's simply when you make it big, will you please come back?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'd love
Because
to come back.
I know it's gonna happen. It's gonna
Well,
happen.
thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the lovely and talented Chantelle Albers. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.